Today I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about finding trackable asteroids, getting access to the model lodes inside to get the highest possible yield so you can go out and make yourself a ton of money. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Elite Dangerous with Down to Earth Astronomy. This is the second video in my advanced miners guide. This video was originally planned to be a how to find a good spot, but due to popular demand I decided to push this up where we are now looking at tips and tricks to locating mother lodes and everything you need to know around it after you've located your mining spot. Locating the mining spot will come later on. Now, first thing, so start right here in the belt. We've located ourselves the spot where we want to mine. And we need to plot a route. We need to mentally make a route where we want to go. The reason why we do this is to avoid running in circles. We don't want to come back to the area we already searched through. We want to constantly move into new areas. Now, one thing you will notice here, I dropped into an opal hotspot. You can see here right in front of me now, there's a big old cloud. That means someone's already been here. Someone's already been in this location and have already located the trackable asteroid, tracked it up. There's no point in me trying to follow in other people's footsteps because I'm not going to find anything. What most people do is they will drop into a hotspot and then they will fly in a straight line towards the planet. The reason why people do that is an old mining trick that you target the planet and always keep going in that direction to avoid running in circles. But there's nothing preventing you from, say, you go to the left, you go to the right, you go backwards. You can see there's actually one being cracked here. There's one that's been cracked here as well. There's plenty of rocks that have been cracked in this area. So if you see this, that means get out of that specific area, not into super cruise, but basically just let's begin to move up. We'll probably just move sideways. Let's say I move sideways like 50, 100 kilometers, something like that, just to get outside of the main track where people have been. So get yourself some distance until you begin to see a clear area, and then either, as I do now, keep the planet on just one side at all times. You can also use the star if that is fairly well aligned with the plane of the rings. Otherwise, you can use the opal hotspot, the hotspot itself, or the planet itself as a point of reference. You can see here's another one that's been cracked, so there's been people here as well. So I will just keep going until I get into a nice and clear area, until I get away from the main source where people have been. So I made it a good distance away. I haven't seen any cracked asteroids for a while, so this is probably a good position. I flew sideways for about 100 kilometers, and then now I'm turning towards the planet, so making a 90-degree turn to make sure I get out of the area where people have been. So next up now, we need to begin to actually search for crackable asteroids. And we of course do this mostly with our pulse wave scanner. You can see when we scan it, some of these asteroids will light up. And the ones that light up are the ones that have a chance or will have some deposit. Doesn't mean they have a core deposit. That just means they have some deposit. It could be surface, it could be subsurface, but of course we're looking for the core deposits. Also note that some asteroids will light up, like this one over here will light up slightly, but that doesn't mean they have any deposits in it, because this is most likely just residual radiation or whatever it is from this asteroid here, which is very bright. So like shines off on this asteroid here, making that look like it has some kind of shimmer to it, but it's most likely that that is the case. But as I said here, this is about the right color that we're looking for, but there is only one type of our physical, like rendered model of asteroids with weather load per ring type. So there's one look of asteroids in ice rings, one in rocky, one in metal, and one in metallic. And you need to learn, and this is something that's difficult to teach, but something you would have to learn for yourself. You need to learn the shape of these, because you can do a lot to test it when you get closer, but learning the shape and the general surface of the asteroids helps you spot the asteroids from further away. I mean, I can just now look at this and see this does not have any core deposits because it doesn't have the right shape. The clumps on the surface is not the right size. It's not rough enough. So I can just by looking at it physically, I can determine whether this has any model lodes inside. There are other tricks, and I'll come back to those in a bit. So what I would do if I'm looking for model lodes is I would head in whatever direction I've set myself up as my main direction I'll be heading. And I'll be firing off the pulse wave scanner. And I'll be looking for asteroids that lights up. It can sometimes be a good idea, depending on how dense the ring is, to get up above the ring, so you don't have to worry about flying into stuff. Because this allows you to pull back the throttle to about, like, in the middle of the blue. And while you're doing that, you can side strafe and use your sideways thrusters to also have a look at what's happening over there on the side. This allows you to cover a much bigger area. So I could see, oh, there's something lighting up over there. That could maybe be interesting. But also make sure to look at your side. You can either just strafe from side to side with the ship. If you have a head look set, you can use your settings for that to have a look. And of course, if you're playing in VR, it is as easy as just turning your head. So again, we're looking for something here that is very bright, like the one down there. But again, no need to go closer. I can see the shape is not right. The size is not even correct. Okay, so I came across something down there that looks very, very bright. So I figured we'll go closer and have a closer look just to see what the asteroid actually looks like. And as I get closer here, it doesn't look very good. It doesn't have the right shape. I'll show you one when I find one. But again, I'm just looking at the general shape and formations on the surface of the asteroid. I can tell that's not one. So I'll keep looking. Okay, so I've been searching for a little bit longer, and I came across this one here up ahead. I haven't been up and have a look at it just yet, but even at range, it looks fairly bright, so this could be a very good candidate. So let's move a little bit closer. The size and the general roughness of the asteroid also seems to be about right. So let's move closer and let's have a better look. Oh yeah, and as we get closer, we can see here, look how bright it is. That looks really promising. And the general, again, the shape of the asteroid here also looks really good. Okay, so I'm pretty sure this is one we haven't prospected it yet, but I just want to give you a good look around the asteroid so you can kind of get a feeling for what we're looking for here. And again, this is just to help you spot it at range. We can see there's these huge clumps on the surface. It's very, very rugged, and these deep, deep canyons on the asteroid itself. And these are some of the things that I'm looking for. I'm looking for these huge clumps, and most of them are fairly round. There's also this very prominent one here at the end. I mean, colors do change depending on lighting and the angle, as you can see here. But overall, this is the kind of shape that I would normally be looking for. Now, again, as I said, this is something that's really difficult to teach. I'll show you the ones for some of the other builds in a little bit. But I really recommend, once you find them, spend a little bit of time at the beginning to try and have a look around the asteroids just to see if you can begin to get a feeling for it yourself. And of course, this is also works similarly in the other builds. There's another trick though. If you go over to the ships and turn off your night vision, what you can also do is we can actually, when the night vision is on, we can actually physically spot the fissures on the surface. You can see here, there's one right there in front of us. You see this light pattern. Does this work in external camera mode? No, it does not. You can see this light pattern here right in front of us. Like this kind of looks like a small spider web or something smeared on the asteroid. That is a fissure. There's one up here as well, as you can see. So this tells me that we indeed have found one. Now, just to confirm, let's go ahead and fire off a prospector. And there we go. Rock is prospected, and indeed we did have a core detected. So that would be a successful. Now, it might not have been what we were looking for, but that doesn't really matter. At least not for the purpose of this video. So that's another trick, is if when you get close, if you are in doubt, you can turn on night vision. I mean, I would probably recommend actually running night vision all the time. Some like it, some don't. But at least it helps you when you get closer to quickly spot, see, can I see any of these fissures on the surface of the asteroid, to quickly spot, to quickly figure out whether this has core deposits or not. So hopefully you would really save on a lot of limpets, so you don't have to carry that many with you. But anyway, let's move on and let's talk about how to crack this one open so that you get the maximum amount of profit out of it. Before we actually do that, I just quickly want to do a mention on firing groups here. It's important when you set up your firing groups on your mining ship to kind of think of in which order you need it. So you can see here, for instance, my first firing group here, I have the Discovery Scanner and Detailed Surface Scanner. That's the first two modules I will need to fight hotspots. The second firing group here, I keep my Prospector and my Pulse Wave Scanner. So this is when I'm searching. This is search mode. I can Pulse Wave and I can Prospect with my two triggers at the same time. Now I'm moving over to the next phase, now that we have one, and that is where I will need the seismic charge launcher, and I've then put my collector limpets here. The same thing, once we have put all the charges in and it's ready to blow, then we will need our abrasion blasters. That's the next group. And again, also we have the collector limpets. And then the final group, the one that I seldom would use, is my beam lasers. In case I need to shoot something, I have regeneration sequence on them, so in case I need to heal someone, I can do that. So try to kind of think of so it comes naturally, so you always know, okay, next step, next fire group. And then once you're done, you go back to the beginnings, the search group again here. Okay, so I will change over to my next group, which is my seismic charge launcher. And then we go and we have a look at what kind of fissures are available. We can see here, you can see it now here in the on the right hand side of the screen. This is a high strength one. So the fissures come in 3 types: low strength, medium strength, low strength, average strength, sorry, and high strength. This basically tells you how much you need to crack it open, how strong the rock material around it. So basically a low strength one will take a lot of damage, will do a lot of damage to the rock when you put a charge in. But if you put the same charge into a high strength one, you will do less damage to the rock. That's going to be important in a bit. So what I would do is I would look through the fissures here, see what we have. We have 2 low strength, which is good, and the rest is high strength. So I would always take the lowest strength there is. That could sometimes be average, and in most cases it will be low. Then I will move over, and I'll begin to charge up my seismic charge launcher. And there we go. Once we're in position, compensating a little bit for the bad hardpoint position here on the clipper. There we go. So we got a high strength in the lowest possible that you would get. This is where I always start. Now we look at the graph up here in the upper right hand corner. We can see we are about 3 bars up, and we're like bouncing up to the 4th sometime. That tells me that we can easily, you can see we still have about, we're 2 bars up and 2 or 3 bars up-ish. We can easily go and add another high strength in a low without getting into any trouble, I think. So I'll just quickly find the other low strength one there on the other side. So let's move over to that. And that is where full pips to engines, of course, and a highly maneuverable ship comes in handy. So I'm going to go put another high strength in that. Boom. And we got it in the optimum range. Now, that will not always happen. But after that, what I would then do is I would begin to put, depending on how much room there is until it goes up to the blue zone. After this, I would begin to put low strength ones, so where I don't charge it up. I should say I charge this up by holding down the trigger, holding the trigger, and when I want to release it, it fires. If you want to put a low strength one, I just quickly tap the trigger like that, and I put low strength in. So using this method, you never really have to use medium charge. You really only have to use high and low, making it a lot easier so you don't misjudge and fire at the wrong time. But anyway, this rock is ready to blow, so we're going to hit detonate. We're going to move our pips over to shield, and we're going to retrieve to a safe distance. While we're doing that, open the cargo hold and begin to eject your collector limpets, if they're not already out, while we're waiting for this rock to blow up anyway. So the collector limpets are already doing their thing. They're beginning to collect the fragments that come out, but that is of course not all. We also have all of these surface deposits inside. A little trick, if you didn't know already, you can target the surface deposit, and you can see here the hull strength says 100%. That means that it have not been shot up yet. So I could go and I could target these. Of course, I haven't shot any, so they would all be 100%. So now we're going to change over to the next firing group, which is the abrasion blaster. Now, it can be a good idea to give the asteroid a little bit of time to kind of open up a bit, and then try to find a good spot where you have a good sight to as many of these surface deposits as you can. Then you target it, and you can see even though these are fixed, they will still jump a little bit. You can see here they jump in, and that means they are, so there's a little bit of gimbal even in fixed weapons. Now, the reason why this is important is because there is I believe it's a bug, I'm not 100% sure, but there is a trick you use at the moment. If you have multiple ablation blasters, and you can get more of them to jump onto it at the same time, and you fire them from the same firing group, that means you will hit the surface deposit at the same time with multiple abrasion blasters, giving you multiple fragments from just one surface deposit. It is a bug, I'm pretty sure, so this might be fixed in the future. The reason why I'm not doing it on this ship is because bad hardpoint placement on the clipper, meaning it's not really possible in this ship, but it works well. People doing it often in ASPs, and I believe you can do it in the Python too, where the hardpoints are closer together. But from this point on, it is pretty much just hold down the abrasion blaster until it fires one off, and from here you can pretty much just target the surface fragments, make it jump to it, and then fire one off. I'm not sure if I got that. I just hit the side of the rock. But anyway, from here it is pretty straightforward. You just fly around the rock, try to get as many inside as you can, and fire them off. There's no reason really to go inside the center of the rock. Try to stay outside. And another point is also try to keep your belly of the ship in mind, because that's where your limpets are going. If you have a rock underneath you, so if I were to fly over this rock here, so my cargo scoop would be just over the rock, the limpets will begin to kill themselves flying into the rock. So keep that in mind when you're moving around. Always keep your belly clear so that your collector limpets have a clear run into your cargo scoop. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward. You shoot up the fragments. There we go. And now we can go over here. We can see, if I were in doubt which one. Oh, they actually updated this, so they disappear from the contacts. Oh, that's neat. Okay. In the past, at least, they wouldn't disappear. So you can always go here and you can see which ones are still left. That's pretty neat. Well done. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Again, once this rock is then done, we can then begin to move on to the next one until our cargo hold is full, and we can head back and we can sell all our lovely, lovely materials. So I promise you, we'll just quickly show you some of the shape of the other asteroids. Currently, I'm in a metallic ring. And in the metallic rings, they kind of look like they're kind of teardrop shaped. I had this one here that I almost flew past. And if we come across along the side of it here, of course, when we look from the top of the bottom, we look round. But as you can see here, as we move along to the side, it gets more and more teardrop shaped, and making them very easy to spot at range. But of course, here in the metallic rings, we can use the same trick as we did before, turning on night vision, and then going in closer to have a better look, see if we can spot those fissures manually. Oh yeah, they're not as easy to see here on the metallic ones, but you can actually see it right there, right in front of us now. You can see that right there, just below the circle, above the 2 and the E, or the half circle there. So that definitely looks like it's one, and just of course to confirm it, I'm just going to fire off a prospector and see if I was correct. Prospector, monocyte detected. Not gonna crack this one open, but it is essentially the exact same thing. I would go over the features here, find a low strength, put two high yield into low strength, and if I have a little bit of headroom, then I'll begin with low charges in either the highs or the average strength ones until I kind of get it right. And remember that I'm just gonna show you this. We have one here. Okay, this is a high strength one. Doesn't really matter. This is just to show you guys. If I fire one into to this one here, compensating for the clipper here, and I decide, oh, this wasn't what I wanted. I wanted the wrong one. You can always go in here and you can go disarm charge. It will take a while, so just give it time, but eventually it will disarm, and then you're good to go to in case you overshoot. And I can see there's a little bit of a graphic bug there that it doesn't really remove the detonation. I wonder if that gets updated when I fire off the next one. It might actually. Yeah, okay, so it does. When I fire off the next one, not a lot really happened. So it was just a graphical bug, I guess. But anyway, I'll leave it up to you to go out and look at the shape of the asteroids in the other types of ring. Just know that the shape is dependent on the type of the ring. This is really important. So in metallic rings, they're teardrop shaped. In icy rings, they're these like big chunks, bulky ones with deep craters in them, or deep canyons in them. And I'll leave it up to you to discover what they look like in the other types of rings. In the metal-rich rings, for instance, they look like basically one asteroid with a small asteroid like lodged on top of it. Also fairly distinct and easy to spot. But anyway, that is going to be it for today. In the next Advanced Miners Guide, we're going to talk about how to find the perfect mining spot to get the best possible outcome out of your mining trips. But that's going to be next time, as I said. Until then, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, remember to subscribe to the channel. Give this video a like if you did. And until next time, I will see you guys in space.